Good morning, everyone. I think it's just clicked over 7 o'clock and it is turning into what looks like it's going to be a beautiful, bright, sunny Tuesday. I am sitting in a park, a little kiddie playground. I'm sitting under this massive tree. And I've got my babies beside me, Hugo and Toby. Toby, where are you? No? Oh, there's Toby. Guys, as I mentioned this week, I'm shaking things up a bit from the perspective of where I'm going to do my live videos from. And this in itself is proving challenging because Toby's just spotted a dog across the road. Guys, yesterday's video on resilience, we talked about a little bit about, how you can become resilient in your everyday life by simply changing up things and seeing what happens, how you react to simple changes in life. But hang on a sec, the dogs are off. Hugo, Toby, come now. They're fine, they're very well behaved. They just went to say hello to another dog. When we're talking about big issues, hi Wasim, when we're talking about the big issues in life, when we're talking about major trauma, minor trauma, any kind of trauma that really does take quite a bit of work to bounce back from, it's not necessarily a different story, it's just a longer process. So what do you actually have to go through when you're bouncing back? There are 3 keys. There are 3 steps. I'm well, Wasim, thank you. There are 3 keys. And I've just got to get hold of Hugo. Hugo, puppy. Come now. Hello. This is a little friend who's come to visit and say hello. Hi. There are 3 keys to bouncing back from trauma. The first one is there is a grieving process. So the 3 steps are grieving, support, and I guess looking forward and looking for positivity. When we're talking about grieving, every time you go through a trauma, there is a grieving process. Now, everyone has had trauma in their life. If you don't allow yourself that grieving process, then the bounce back is going to be that much harder. It won't be an organic process. You have to allow yourself the time to grieve. I can't stress to you enough how important that is. That doesn't mean you wallow. Hi Kerry. Wallow, it doesn't mean you sit there and it's not a poor me thing. Pardon me. It's not a poor me thing. It's actually allowing yourself to feel all the feelings that go along with what you experienced through that traumatic period. And what I've found personally and with the clients that I deal with, hi Lara, what I've found is that as time goes on, you may come across experiences that trigger that original trauma, but it never takes as long to go through that grieving process, Each time you bounce back just that little bit faster. Each time you are able to process through that series of emotions that little bit quicker, allowing you to move to the level where you can ask for support and then start looking for the positive outcome. So, I'm not talking about this being a snap process, okay? Not when you first go through something really bad. It's absolutely not a snap process. But once you get the technique, let's call it a technique. I don't want to remove the emotion from it, but if you guys want to know how to bounce back from trauma, it is a process. And processes are kind of, dry and cut and dried and all of that sort of thing. Of course, the process itself, when you're going through it, involves emotion. Yes, of course. But to understand the steps, grieving, support, and looking for positivity. What I've seen happen time and again is that people withdraw when they're going through that grieving process. And that's because you need time. You need time to yourself to work out what the hell just happened in my life. How did this even happen? You need that time. You need that time to process. And so what I have seen happen time and again is that people do withdraw, and I've done it myself. Once you have reached the point where you are ready to move forward again, is when you start accepting support and reaching out for support. Now that support process is so, so important. It can be the make or break of bouncing back. If you've got the right kind of support, you are going to bounce back so much faster than if, you've got someone, or you're talking to someone who just cannot connect with your situation. The understanding that you receive when you get support from the right avenue is phenomenal, and it is powerful, and it is so healing to be able to speak to someone who goes, you know what, I get it. I went through something similar. I get it. And just having that sharing experience of the support is enough to quite literally lift the weight off your shoulders to say, wow, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. There is someone who understands what I'm going through. This is the whole point of support groups. You think of places like AA, and all of the the anonymous support groups that sprang up after AA. They are about being able to share your experience and get support from people who have been through something similar. It's a process where even if you don't fully connect with the experience the person has gone through, you can find the parallels of the emotional experience. And when we're talking about grieving, it's all about emotion. It's all about processing those emotions of loss, of fear of the unknown, fear of what is my life going to be like without this, fear of what the hell just happened. Am I supposed to work this out, or am I supposed to just move on? When you have like-minded people around you, that process is so much easier. So the next phase of bouncing back, once you have that support and once you've been through the grieving process, is looking for the positives. You can't look for the positives when you're grieving. Well, you can, but it's not going to be effective. It's not going to be effective if you go, wow, there's a beautiful, bright, shiny flower and a rainbow, and I feel dead inside. You can look for the positives at that stage, but you need to acknowledge what you're actually going through. I never stop looking for positives. It's part of my nature. It's part of my nature to do that. But if you're in a grieving process, allow it the respect it deserves. Because if you don't process through it properly, it will come back and bite you on the ass so hard you won't know what hit you. So, the 3 keys to bouncing back. Allow yourself the grieving process. Allow yourself to acknowledge the emotions associated with the trauma that you've been through. You know, if you need to withdraw, fine. If you need to reach out, I encourage that. I encourage that. I reposted some helpline numbers on the page yesterday. If you have experienced trauma and you're being triggered, contact people who are trained to help you through those processes. I would say that there is virtually no situation that you have been through where there is not some sort of lifeline support available. So if you are being triggered through this process of looking at resilience and bouncing back, or anything at all, then, and you feel you need the professional help, by all means, reach out. Reach out. Once you are ready to sort of step out of that grieving process, once your body tells you, you know, it's time, and your body will tell you, that's when, you know, you're ready to start looking for the support. Just start accepting the support. And then you get ready to start looking for the positives. So, guys, I hope that's helped you guys understand a little bit more. We went a little bit more in depth into, like, I guess, serious trauma, the process you go through in serious trauma, in bouncing back. However, that same process applies when you're going through changes in your everyday life. If you've made a decision to change your life in some way, and you are changing everyday habits, if you are changing the way you look at life, you're changing the way you look at yourself, there is a little process of death that happens then as well. It's the death of this aspect of your personality that you realize, do you know what, it doesn't serve its purpose anymore. I've got mosquitoes all around me at the moment. You go through that grieving process. You reach out for support. That's what this group is about as well, the support aspect. And then you start being able to look for the positives. So those 3 steps, those processes work on a large scale as well as on the smaller scale. The steps are exactly the same. I hope this has helped some of you to understand a little bit more about what's involved when you bounce back. And I just want to assure you guys as well, you know, you see me come to you for 15, 20 minutes every morning. I go through these processes on a daily basis. You know, I come to you with positivity because once I have processed my own issues, I am seeing the positive. Yeah? But don't for a moment think that I don't understand how difficult things can get. Because what you see is the 15 or 20 minutes every morning. And the reality behind that is that I do my processing in the background. I go through my grieving process. I go through my support process. And I go through my process of finding the positives. So I'm not some guru in the ether who has all the answers every single time. But I do the work. I do the work. And I bring the results of that work to you so that maybe you can look at your life and make the decision to do the work as well and get amazing results, amazing outcomes. Have a fabulous day, guys. I'm going to go and get out of this park because I've quite literally just been slaughtered by mosquitoes left, right and centre. I'm going to continue my walk. As I said, that's one of my new routines this week, is to have a walk every day. Wishing you a wonderful day wherever you are in this wonderful world. Mwah. Have a fabulous day. Bye.